Welcome back to another Productivity Like a Pro recording with my dear friend Paco Cantero and our dear friends and members inside the chat. Let's see what we will discover today. We will keep doing. I'm curious if Paco has something to share that I'm not aware of. And I think let's start the week with an update from last week. As I mentioned, the scanner issue that I had in the past week and that I have to have some sort of document scanner in order to progress. And I got this one. See how tiny these things are nowadays. It's insane. Even you can have a battery in there. It's from Brother, the DS640 for those who are listening to this on a podcast. And I will send it back. Because instead I got this one. And this is actually nostalgia, if you know it. Mm-hmm. This is the ScanSnap. And it's a new version of the ScanSnap. So all the paperless movement, the first scanning wasn't with Raven Scanner. Obviously, they reached out when they saw I was doing reviews about scanners, and it was the ScanSnap. I think IX500 it was in the past. And I loved this thing. It was scanning directly to Evernote and things like that. And that's what I was using until they stopped support after I don't know how many decades. And they forced people to get a new scanner and stop the support of the old scanner. So there was definitely a marketing strategy behind this to sell the new scanners. And that was the video where I wasn't so happy about it because the new scanners weren't as good as the old scanner. So I'm happily moving on to something new if it is better than the old thing, or at least the same quality, but it wasn't. Well, long time later, I have now the ScanSnap IX1300, and this is a scanner that came out after the IX1600. So the 1600 is these big scanners. And I didn't want to have something bulky on my desk anymore. I didn't want to have it standing around like, you know, the old Raven scanner still in the back. I love the idea of this very small one, but the reason why I'm sending this back and got the other one is that the Brother only scans simplex, so only one page. And so I needed duplex scanning, and then it becomes already more expensive. And then I saw the ScanSnap, and that's really in between the big ones and the mobile ones. And this is amazing, I have to say. I tested it now. I had the software installed, and you can, you know, run it on Wi-Fi. You can set everything up. It will automatically scan it to your Dropbox folder and things like that. So all these things are working perfectly. And I have to say, the way it scans, it's really smart and well thought out that I can now put in, I think it's, 40 pages. And it scans all these pages, duplex, makes the correction, have OCR there. And now I have my goal there. So certainly I will do a video about this going more in detail. Just wanted to give you guys the update since the last time we talked about scanners, that I'm back to ScanSnap, and I'm really happy about how they evolved and that I brought out this in-between scanner that is there. And Paco, you couldn't care less.
No. The point is that I have no clue about scanners, obviously. We got a big one here. More than one here in the different offices that we have, but I don't use them. Well, a little bit when we have some paper of a supplier or something like that I need to scan a document talking about an invoice or whatever. But that's it. I have no clue. And also it's a topic that in my case, you know, it never resonated with me. The thing is that I have no clue about scanners. About scanners and many other things in life, obviously. But talking to this matter, scanners, because this is something curious that when you don't have the need, plus you don't have any interest at all, it's really difficult to be or get interested into something. But anyway, I consider that these things are super useful, but I've never dig deep into these things.
Yeah, as you said it, if there is no need, and if you always had people doing it for you, and you know, that's then you don't look for a solution. And that's why you have me, and that's why we are two at the Paperless Movement. Correct. So we really cover it all.
Yeah, and from different perspectives. And I think that's quite enriching for our people.
Yeah. Well, that was it that I wanted to share today. I have a few other things, but maybe you...
Well, I got a ton of them.
Okay? A ton? Yeah, well, how could I expect any less than...
of everything. No, I would like to share some things that I have found out that one of them, especially because I consider that in my case, it's really interesting. And because I do love when something simple affects my workflow or how I work daily, and this is the case. It's something really simple, something that I've been doing with some workarounds on some other systems or implementations that I wasn't fully satisfied. And it's related to the new feature that Raycast has launched about 2 weeks ago. It's called Raycast Focus feature. For the people who don't know about Raycast, Raycast is a launcher. It's like a Spotlight if you use Apple. So it's a way of launching any app that you have in your computer, but it goes far beyond. These guys saw that niche, and based on that starting feature as a launcher, then they started adding things until a point that just launching Raycast with a shortcut, you can do many things. Pretty useful that you are constantly using, like translating, using a calculator, asking AI something quickly. Well, many things. They got also quick notes, so you can have a quick way of jotting things down using your computer and your keyboard. And the thing is, a new feature, because these guys are really leveraging how they are launching new features in a really sweet way, I would say, analyzing it from an engineer perspective, talking software, because they are things simple that they keep evolving, but at least you have something to start working on. And this feature, it's amazing in my case, because it goes directly to the concept that have created in the ICOR methodology about planning. And this emerged in our last live coaching session inside our Inner Circle program, because we were talking about estimations, and we always make bold statements so that people can understand the concept, and then we keep distilling this bold statement by going into the nuances and the subtleties. And the bold statement was, forget about estimations. We were talking about time tracking and all the stuff. And in my case, it's something that it was never useful for me. We always said that maybe time tracking is useful the moment that you are going to repeat the same task and you want to really polish and know how long it will take. But normally, time tracking for the rest of tasks that you don't know when you're going to make them, that creates the difference. And in my case, I have never even believed in that, because I have concluded something, that first, I could dedicate endless hours to most of my tasks. So I could go, I don't know, for instance, say, writing an article, thinking about a product, whatever. I could be all day long and weeks and for even months writing articles, writing books, thinking about products, defining strategies. So I need to force myself to create a time frame that I need to commit to. That's the main strategy that I have found, and we have found here with ICOR and the paperless movement methodology, to avoid Parkinson's law. Basically, Parkinson's law is that no matter the time that you dedicate to a task, you will complete it always. So if you think that you're going to dedicate 1 week to think about your strategy, your business strategy, you will dedicate 1 week. If you say 1 month, it will be 1 month. If you say 1 hour, it will be 1 hour. So you're always going to complete the estimation of your time the moment that you start executing a task, especially when they are specific, I would say, tasks that you don't know how long it will take. So going back to how we plan, because based on that, what do we need? For me, it has always been the same. I think about, I'm going to tackle this task. This is the one that I want to tackle right now, but for how long? And I want to force myself to have a time really well defined, a time length. And that's what Raycast Focus makes really smoothly, because you can, first of all, you can launch this feature just using a keystroke. So immediately, pretty simple, you put the name of the task, the time that you want to dedicate, and just in case, it's not my case, if you want to block any other application, for instance, social media applications that could interrupt your focus time. So you plan, for instance, for 30 minutes, and I thought it was going to be a source of anxiety. I thought, that's what I thought at the beginning. But the point is that how these guys have implemented this is that they put a timer on top, right in the top menu of the Apple operating system. But it's so small that it doesn't affect you at all. You don't have a timer there that you are constantly, paying attention and creating that pressure. It's something that you have there on top. it doesn't affect you, but you are aware of that at any moment. The point is that for me, it forces me to dedicate time to that task. So it's like planning on the go, because I'm forcing myself, man, I say that for this article, I will dedicate 1 hour. Then I disappear of the world and I'm fully focused with something that is pretty easy to control me. That's something that it was impossible for me. I use timers, snoozer, whatever, and it never worked for me because the friction was quite high. The thing is that when it's coming to an end, the screen flashes and you decide then if it makes sense to extend that focus time because maybe you are in the right mood, in the right flow, or complete it. And I think that's the real meaning of being focused, being aware of the time that you are going to dedicate to your tasks. And for me, it's, quite useful, quite easy to use, and something that I'm really delighted.
Well, that's really interesting. I missed that one. So thanks for sharing. As I'm heavily using Raycast every day, I'm curious that this didn't show up, but I now checked, it's already there. And I for sure will use this. As I keep saying, I love to use my mobile phone, and I just set a timer to 1 hour in order just to get an idea how long I'm in the focus mode, and then the moment it is ended, I extend it and set another hour, and then maybe I work 1.5 hours. But it's hard to describe why to do this. It's not about tracking the time or having pressure, but have a sense of time rather. And it's not like running out of time, but well, it is, to me, it's always a great feeling how much you can accomplish in just 1 hour. 25 minutes in Pomodoro is this nonsense, as I need this time to just warm up in the whole thing. And if somebody interrupts me there, well, then I have to start from scratch. That's something we don't believe in. And I know, Paco, you neither. But 1 hour is the sweet spot.
The thing is that in my case, it's something wonderful because it allows me to plan and execute on the fly. For instance, if I see that there are only 10 minutes left, I force myself to take the best out of those 10 minutes. You know, I'm aware of that time that is left, and I say, man, I need to really force the things to do what I had previously planned. And you are constantly planning, and that's something that we do love because we talk about, well, creating weekly goals so that you have an overall idea. We can plan the day, but now with this type of tools and workflows, we are able to plan on the go. Whenever you are executing a task, that gives you that structure of the day that we say. For instance, imagine speedies. I want to block this just 15 minutes, and I forget, and then I'm fully aware of the speedies execution. I don't care about, maybe because the moment that you are fully focused, you can move from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and then you are dedicating longer than you really wanted. And I think that's something that this type of approaches help you a lot, that at the end, you are fully aware of what's left, how long you want to take, you are respectful of your time, and you are serious about it because the moment that the time has ended, you finish and you move to another task. And if you extend that time block, you do it on purpose. It's not just a matter of some random thought. No, it's something that you do consciously. And I think that having all that being implemented in such a simple way, I think that it's something that it seems pretty easy, but for me, it says that there's a lot of deep thought behind, and the implementation
Well, you can say that.
brilliant.
I mean,
Brilliant.
I'm happy to see that you're starting to use this way as well, but it also shows it needs to appear in your existing setup or workflows. By appearing in Raycast, there's already a plus as you're using this. You know, you just need to have a shortcut. You don't need to open a separate application and maybe even write things down, what you're tracking and all these things. That's why Toggle, for example, never worked for me either. Years ago, I used Toggle and I set up projects for different things. And then I thought, let's make things easier. And I differentiated between project work and shallow work and things like that. But this is all nonsense. the data you get out of this. Then you have the automatic time tracking that gives you insights. It just tells you how much you get distracted from what you're doing. Something I don't need either. If I set the timer and I say, let's focus on this 1 hour, and you get this done. And having it this way, I love it, that it's showing up on the menu on top. That's something I told ClickUp already, I think 2 or 3 years ago. I said to Seb, on top, if you start a time tracking in ClickUp, it would be great if it would show up in the menu that I actually see the timer, because the timer keeps running. I always forgot to stop the timer. So there was in the end 3 days track time without sleep or going to the toilet, obviously. Very realistic. So this is work about work in the end, where you manage the time tracking tool, and that's why it's complete nonsense. But this way it's perfect. And I like this as well. I will certainly use it this way as well, that I see it settled on top rather than in front of me with the iPhone, as this is pretty big.
Yes, because there you don't pay attention to it. That's the thing. You can be fully focused and it doesn't. In fact, I'm going to suggest these guys, because we are constantly in contact and in touch, that I would like to remove seconds in that timer, because I don't care at all. It's just a focus time. I don't need the seconds running live, because it's noise there. It's something that catches my attention a little bit. So just use hours and minutes, and that's more than enough. If it's 3 minutes left, I don't need to know 3:20, 3 minutes 20 seconds. But well, subtleties, because all the things that these guys do are brilliant. And well, I cannot wait for the iOS app. That it will be fantastic to have Raycast on mobile. That will be a huge step
absolutely
forward.
So I'm excited for 2025, and I'm excited to hear that they already added something new. So thanks for sharing. And Mary says in the chat, I thought of you this morning, Tom and Paco. And of Paco, it's just of me, sorry. I had only an hour before my first meeting this morning and almost didn't tackle something. But your words came to mind that we often underestimate how much we can do in 1 hour. So I dove in on a task, highlighted it for the day, and within an hour made huge headway. Congratulations. It's really the thing that we underestimate these things. That's also a form of procrastination, that you think, well, it's not worth even starting. But the focus, and if you have a way to trigger this, and for me it was always starting the timer. It triggered something in my brain that I immediately got focused. And if you have something like that brings you quickly into the mode of focus and deep work, then the more you can achieve in 1 hour, obviously, and even in 15 minutes. So I was surprised just before our live call. I bursted through this in my emails and answered so many things that I left behind. And it took way less time than I anticipated as well. Paco, I have one more. I know your list is long, but we also have a few more Mondays to come. So
yes, it's important. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and we cannot go overtime because our inner circle members are waiting for our initial call this morning. This evening for the US
program.
Yeah, exactly. So Steve, one of our members, he shared inside the tool discussions an interesting tool. In fact, I was in the weekly call, in the weekly AMA, where our members, also free members, can join me in Zoom and discuss anything that you have on mind. And Steve joined and he talked about recall. And I thought, oh, well, quickly looked it up and I realized it's a browser extension and you can just bookmark things. That's what I thought initially, that you just bookmark stuff. And, well, I don't know, maybe it's something like Reader. Then after the call, I really took the time and dove in and I realized, oh, well, this is actually something really interesting, because what Steve shared there is that, well, it summarizes with AI, YouTube videos and things like that. And I thought, yeah, that's something I'm doing too. And there are many tools doing this in a browser extension. But in fact, it is a native application, right? It is a tool and it's not just a browser extension. And you have this also on mobile, so you can forward any article that you come across to recall. And the interesting thing is, if you compare it to the Reader Read Later app, that this is the actual PKM system. So you can take notes in there And with AI, it automatically finds the connections between the articles that you're sharing. It automatically tags the thing. And it even, people like it or don't, the visual map of the connected nodes and something. I always like to look at these things. And that's what it's doing in the back end. And it's really interesting. It, for example, highlights a word that is just, I don't know, science, for example. It highlights this, and you click on this, and there's just a title science. And then you can expand this. And therefore, AI will enrich this node now with more information about this word science. And that's really interesting, I have to say, because it builds up automatically your knowledge base depending on the things that you are sharing in there. And then they also have a way of serendipity. I'm not a big fan of this, but I tested it with Paco's article about Heptabase versus Tana. He made an amazing job with summarizing the article, and then it also creates questions about the article that you can go through randomly every day. So it asks you questions about these articles if you still understand this. And I'm really impressed about this. And I have to say, that's something I thought Reader will come up with when they implement AI. That's something I was expecting more from Readwise, that they will automatically start connecting the things that you put there. But right now, we have to tag this. We have to somehow sort this. And in the end, you search for the things that you are getting there. That's where we said it could become really a PKM system reader, but it's not there yet. And this is exactly the approach that I thought Reader would be approaching. But well, it's really worth it. I keep using it because it's amazing the way how you can share things on mobile. Something I really.
And what was the name of the tool?
The tool is called Recall. I had never heard about this. So Steve, if you're watching this, thanks very much for sharing. Really interesting, and I'm sure Paco will check this out now as well, because well, it is a blind spot again. It's a blind spot that we both are aware there's something missing in the shallow thinking world where we keep saving stuff. But if AI helps us to make more sense out of this, MEM was going this direction, but it was not structured. Here you have a proper structured PKM. It just helps you to connect the things together. I think it's really interesting.
Great.
And something that we both checked out, Paco. Sublime.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Sublime reached out to me and said if I'm interested to check out the tool, because they saw a video I was doing about PKM, and I really liked the way they reached out. It's not sponsored or anything. Usually I say no to, or not even respond to many requests that we get on a daily basis. But this one, Stephen is actually in the chat. I see he's writing. So thanks again for mentioning Recall. And Sublime, well, what should I say? To be honest, Sublime is a PKM tool as well. And the idea behind this is that you share your information in a way that I just described with Recall. However, it's also shared with the public. So you can have areas of your knowledge that you share publicly, and then it becomes a social media kind of thing where you can comment on other people's thoughts. But that's something I wasn't able to wrap my head around this, how this would be useful, because as we keep saying, in my opinion, personal knowledge management should be personal knowledge management. The moment I start sharing and I have to decide, and well, either I share it on social media and I want people to discuss this or go to Reddit or something like that, or I'm having my thoughts in my personal knowledge management. That's one thing. I wasn't sure how I would use this in our current tool stack. And the other thing is I wasn't happy about the UI UX. I don't know. That's something that felt not very established. Well, we are brutally honest here, and now you have it. If you are aware of Sublime, what are your thoughts about this, Paco?
The thing is that I think that they try to tackle too many areas that it's impossible, to tackle such complexity with just one tool that it's starting, and also that I do think that the more it's like Raycast, just being fully focused on being a launcher, obviously they start adding new features, but with common sense that they think about the end user, about, man, this guy launches a launcher. So what does he need? Would he need a calculator, a translator, whatever, and they are constantly, leveraging something that is pretty specific. It's like if they try to create a task manager, they could go with that and create tasks. No, man, they don't go into that way because those are such complex areas of software, of knowledge, of everything that I prefer the tools, and we will talk in the next days, because as people think that ICOR is tool agnostic, that we don't care at all, and we don't talk about tools, but here we are showing that we talk about tools, that we are constantly trying new things, because also it's a way of improving workflows. When you see how a tool has implemented a certain workflow, then you can take it with you and even use it in your current tool stack. That's something that it has happened to me many times. And the thing is that when I see that a tool trying, especially when they start from scratch and they are not a solid software company or even a solid software product, trying to tackle too many different areas, at the end, I think that burns out the user, because at the end, nothing is well enough, especially when you are comparing with current tools, with current competitors. And I think that it's a pity, because there are really good ideas there, but the moment that you see how it's implemented, it's so early, that it's impossible to check it out and conclude that you're going to use it. And also because it creates a lot of friction with the current workflows. And that's too many things to overcome. And that's why we ended up, not using it, and feeling a little bit disappointed, that it's a pity, because we know the effort, the energy, the resources, everything that has been put into this amazing tool, because it's amazing. The point is the moment that you start compare it with the rest of options in the market. That's the moment that you see that it's such an early stage that it's impossible to become a competitor with some other software companies.
And it also starts worrying me when I see companies like Heptabase. Now they focus really on collaboration features, and they started last year already with this, building out collaboration features in Heptabase. Yes, they can do it, and they probably will do a great job doing it. What worries me about this, there are so many features in the personal knowledge management space that they could add. For example, an inbox, but normal, quality of life things, that there's a long list of things that they spread themselves thin as a small development team. And now they focus on something else that is far more complex and needs a lot of energy to get right when it comes to collaboration, security, and all these things.
Yeah.
Well, we will see. They keep publishing great things as well along the way. So I'm really excited and still hopeful that things will keep going the way. And let's see if this will be finally a collaboration feature that we will start using. As so far, we always bet on our BKM tools, our business knowledge management, where we share our knowledge and work together. And then you have a PKM area where everybody thinks for themselves. So, well, we will see. Maybe I don't know, they're kind of venture capital, or even that they're profitable, but maybe they see the money in team collaboration and having a team tier there. Who knows?
Obviously.
I didn't want to say it this way, but it is the thing.
Yeah.
Guys, this was it for today. And we catch you up next time. Steven shared as well that I should reach out to Recall because they give special discounts, and surely we will see what we can do for our members and share it inside the tool discount section then. And Stefan is still typing. Maybe I wait for it because he started typing. There we go. Are you still using Goalscape? I'm currently doing the trial very quickly. That's something we can take quickly. So Goalscape, yes, we are using it every year. Once. No, every quarter actually. We go into quarterly because we do our quarterly planning, and just in the beginning of the year we sit in Goalscape and thought about the whole year, but it is really giving us the North Star. Paco and I, we just had a similar discussion in Goalscape about this as well. They add features, commenting, task tracking and all these things.
But the point,
we don't use it.
The point is No, the point is that it's a tool that we use just 4 times per year.
Yeah.
But it gives us a vision of the goals and the directions that we should pursue that no other tool has made to make that workflow quickly, to make the implementation really quickly, really fast, and in a visual way that it's amazing. The point is, why the heck don't they think about how to improve just that? Because that's complex enough. You know, goal setting, it's a huge topic itself. Why the heck do they try to create tasks and then no, man, I think that's the moment that you don't find, because for us, just how it is and using it just 4 times per year, it has the ROI. We are paying for that tool without overthinking it, without feeling guilty, because it's useful. It's useful. The point is that how many times do we see things that it could be improved just for the goal setting? It's something that...
And if you're curious about how we use it and why we only use it 4 times a year, well, when we set the goal, we create a project for these goals. And this is in our action system, ClickUp, where we then lay out the tasks, right? Top-down approach here, the task, and then we just work on these tasks on a weekly basis, and we check each quarter, did we complete our goals this way? And usually we did, or we made progress that is transparent, so we know how we need to adjust, reorganize, or if we need to have a new goal or new project. In Goalscape, we will see already the things that we thought that we will do next. But we set up the goals inside ClickUp as well then. This is then where you have the sequential order on how you work on the things, but Goalscape gives you the bird's eye view about all the North Stars you have. We differentiate there between the different business parts, between finance, marketing, sales, and products and things like that. So it gives you really the bird's eye view needed to make the planning. But this is really it. And we happily pay for exactly this because it is time saving. And each quarter we go in and we see new features, as Paco described, and then even changes that are weird when it comes to moving the things around. And well, we will see how long this will go, but we haven't seen any other goal planner that can compete with Goalscape, no doubt. All right, everybody, but this was it now. We will meet us next Monday, or if you want to join me on Wednesday in the weekly AMA, I will be there in Zoom, so we can see us in person and we can talk there together. Just make sure in the events section that you RSVP there, and then we will see us Monday. Everybody, have a good time.
Thank you, guys. See you.